Welcome back to Your 401k Sucks. My name is Leanne. This is part 3. If you've missed the other 2 parts, then you've missed a lot, and I would encourage you to go back because, as you can see by the drawing here on your screen, we've covered in great detail how 401ks work, how they're taxed, why they suck, etc. So you need to go watch that one. And then in the last video, we actually went through the tax-free forever line, otherwise known as the Roth IRA or the Roth 401k. We talked through all the moving parts of that. And in this video, we're going up the line here to the tax maybe line. We're going to go in great detail and then we're going to put it all together. So with no further ado, let's dive in. Okay, now just quick review. The max tax forever line and the tax-free forever line, those are Leannisms, not financial terms. I've explained the financial terms in the previous videos. And in this case, the tax maybe line is also a Leannism, not a financial term. So the reason I call it the tax maybe line is going to be very apparent to you here in a few minutes. But as we look at the different investment vehicles that are available to you for both saving for retirement and or just saving or investing just for wealth creation, I want you to understand it's not just about how you grow your money. That's one part of investing. Another part of investing is understanding how much risk you can take in order to make profits in your investment, what you can stomach. And then the third part of that I'm trying to get into your guts is that the tax impact is enormous with all of these things. Because what is the point of investing if we are losing so much of our growth or our profit to just taxes? So on this tax maybe line that we're going to be talking about, I'm going to explain it to you in very simple terms on another screen. I'm going to be illustrating for you how these tax maybe investments work. Your financial advisor might refer to what I'm calling tax maybe, which is a Leannism, as an account called an individual account or a joint account or a brokerage account, and sometimes even a taxable account. What I want you to understand is that in our previous drawing, remember how we had basically the wall of shame here at age 59 and a half, and then we had another one at 75, right? And so we were kicking the tax can or tax bill down the road. Then when we talked about the tax-free line, the tax-free line went above those walls of shame. But in this case, what's actually happening is that this account sits completely above the chart. It's its own little creature and creation. So as we take a look at this, understand that your tax maybe account operates in its own universe because it's not what they call a qualified account. In English, a qualified account is basically an account that has special qualifications on it about taxes. So your tax maybe account doesn't have any special qualifications to it. It's just an account that we're going to refer to that runs what Leanne calls the profit and loss model. I want you to think of it as simply as a box. And this box is meant to hold little investments. So let's just say that each of these little boxes that I'm drawing on the screen right now represent individual companies that you own. Now, if you've worked with me as an advisor, or you've watched my content, you absolutely know that I'm always going to talk about the 3 tenets of investing. Number 1, we want to own profitable companies. Number 2, we want to own them as inexpensively as possible. And number 3, we want to make sure that where we own those companies and how we got them is in the most tax efficient way possible. Those are the tenets of investing. So let's just say that this box represents Apple. Maybe this is Google. This is Microsoft. It could be any number of companies. Financial people call this box right here a portfolio. That's all. It's just financial terms for, hey, a box that holds a whole bunch of investments inside of it. Now, this portfolio right here represents the different investments that you have. Here's what I want you to understand. If you go and you open up your portfolio and you spent $50,000, the word spent is being used on purpose. You spent $50,000 to buy this stock in the portfolio, or this mutual fund in this portfolio, or this ETF in the portfolio. The $50,000 is what you actually invested into each one of those companies. But the value of the portfolio together when we start it is $50,000. Now, that $50,000 is your cost basis. So think of it like buying a house. If you're buying a house and you buy a house for $350,000, your cost to get into the home is $350,000. And then if you live in that home for 10, 15 years and the home appreciates up and is now worth $450,000, you have a profit of $100,000. Pretty straightforward. The same thing is true in the context of our portfolio here. We have our cost basis of $50,000, and then we're investing in these different companies, and we're hoping that as they're profitable, they'll share those profits with us, and it will increase the value of the portfolio. The financial people call that equity. It works the same as your home. When we buy a house for $350,000, that's our cost basis. If it's worth $450,000, we have equity of $100,000. Same, right here. So it's really important to understand how the tax maybe investments work in the context of cost basis, because unlike the terrible 401k where we put money into it and we get a little tiny tax break out here in the present, and then we kick the tax can down the road. If our cost basis on our 401k is $50,000, guess what? We're still paying tax on all $50,000 in the future. That is not how these accounts work, which is why I take the time to explain them differently. That's why I call them tax maybe accounts, right? It's not guaranteed that you're going to be paying taxes on this because of different levers that it works with. So your portfolio, your tax maybe portfolio runs what Leanne calls the profit and loss model. Let's just say that we take this box right here, right? And let's just say it represents Apple. We bought Apple stock. So if we take it out and we say, hey, Apple, I want to give my stock back to you. Thank you. I bought Apple stock at $100 a share. And yay, us. Everybody likes an iPhone and everybody likes Apple. So now when I bought it for $100 a share like 5 years ago, yay me, it's now worth $500 a share, right? We now have a profit of $400, right? That's our profit per share. So what's really cool about this particular type of account is every single day of your life that you have either put money into this type of account or taken money out of this account, it runs the profit and loss model where it says, how much did you spend to make the investment? $100 a share. And now what is it worth? Oh, it's worth $500 a share. Perfect. You have a profit of $400 a share. That's the simplest way that I can put it. And so the reason that some financial advisors call this a taxable account is if I take this $400 a share and say, all right, I'm going to wire it to your bank account. What's going to happen is we're going to say, oh, well, you have a total value of $500 in the account, but all you need is 400 of it, right? So if that's true, what we have to do is we have to pay tax on the profit. Not like the 401k that we talked about, where every single dollar that we put into it is taxed at ordinary income tax rates in the future. We get to play this profit and loss model with this type of account. So what happens if you bought your shares at $100 a share? And that could just as easily be a mutual fund or an ETF. We're just picking on Apple right now. And then when you say, hey, Leanne, I need some money, if the value of the shares or the portfolio has dropped from $100 a share down to $50 a share, which is not our hope, right? Then we've actually lost money on this investment, haven't we? So if we've lost money on our investment here, what happens with the taxes? Well, we don't pay taxes on our losses, actually. We capture the loss and we offset them against future gains, which I'm not going to get into today. What I want you to understand about this is that by contrast, compared to the 401k, we are able, the advisor is able to look at an account like this and build it in a way where if we know that our client needs money, or if I know that my client needs money, if I know that their cost basis is $100 to get into the investment, I can take this money and I can ship that money back to them. And I can leave their profit in the stock market, which means that they pay $0 in tax. This is oversimplification by a long shot, but what I want you to see about this is that if your advisor can send you the cost basis from your portfolio rather than the combined cost basis plus profit out, then you can be in a situation where you don't pay tax. Let's just say that we have the situation here where we have $100 a share and it grew to $500 a share, and we have $400 per share of profit. If I were to send you all $400 per share of the profit, then as of now, this is 2024, the maximum tax you would pay on that would be long-term capital gains of 15%. Contrast that to paying tax on every single dollar that you put into plus the growth of a traditional 401k, where you might be taxed as high as 22, 28, 32, 42%. All of those things are things I see in my office every single day. So we can absolutely leverage and plan for future taxes by making sure that we have money in all three buckets or all three lines. And so year over year, week over week, as I help people manage their life and their money, these are the kind of conversations I'm having with my clients, where I look at the money and go, oh, I'm not going to ship you $25,000 out of your IRA and let you get hosed with taxes. We have one of those tax maybe accounts. So I'm going to go find $25,000 of cost basis and send it to you so we don't have tax impact this year. This is especially true if you own a business and you have years where your income is fluctuating and your taxes are shifting a lot. We want that kind of flexibility on how we distribute profit, or as we distribute just your cost basis out of the investments. So now that you understand how the tax maybe line works and that it runs with the profit and loss model, what I hope you're starting to see is that in the real world of real finance, there are layers of complexity. And it isn't just as simple as listening to something that Dave Ramsey or even Leanne said is a good investment strategy. What we want to do is be thoughtful and mindful. I teach people, or in my practice, I work really closely with people to do cash flow simulations to look at, like, okay, if we kick your finances out 30 years into the future, what is the result we're going to get? And so what I want you to get out of everything you've learned from me on this sketch here is that it isn't an all or nothing approach. Sound financial planning and sound investment strategy means that we take a step back and we look at what is, not what isn't. Like, what is the reality of your financial life? Everybody starts somewhere. You don't have to be disgustingly wealthy to implement some of these strategies and be smart about your finances. And if you are disgustingly wealthy and you turn a blind eye to some of the things I just showed you here, you're going to be paying way more in tax than you want to be. So we want to be mindful. We want to be smart and savvy people who take the time to learn a few things like you've done here and recognize that the solution to tomorrow's tax bill is being thoughtful about each and every one of these lines. And what you want to know is what the blend should be for you and for your family. And if you don't know what that looks like for yourself, call me. Let's talk. Or if you have a financial planner that you really like and you really trust, absolutely sit down with them and say, okay, I now understand the difference between the max tax line, the tax-free line, and the tax maybe line. I don't think I have that tax maybe line. We got to get that going. Or if you're in a if you're a high earner and you just know, I don't have the option to do the tax-free forever line, and my employer doesn't offer a Roth 401k, or I'm a self-employed business owner and I just can't put money here. Perfect. That's okay. What we need to do is figure out the strategy between how much we should be trying to take in deductions for you out here through your income, especially if you employ your spouse, or how much we should be putting on the tax maybe line. So hear me say that the complexities are there, but I hope you understand them better and that you can do this with the help of a wonderful financial planner who speaks the language of the people and gets you where you want to go. Make sure whomever you are taking financial advice from is somebody that you trust, somebody that you know has your best interest at heart, somebody who you know is a fiduciary, meaning they have to put your interest ahead of their own, and somebody who isn't charging you exorbitant commissions to build this kind of model for you. Those things are every bit as important as understanding these things. I'd like you to think in closing, I'd like you to think about what you want to build in the long term of your life. And if what you want to build is something really, really simple that you can understand when you're 80, then that's what you walk into your advisor's office and say, help me build something that I understand. If you're like a lot of my clients who are like, well, I want to build simple and I want to understand it, but I also want the sexy juice and I want to like put it to work, then that's a different conversation. And hopefully you're working with a financial professional that will help you understand each of these layers. But I find that people, when I draw this for them in my office, they're just like, I didn't know any of that. I've been going to my same financial advisor for 10 years and I've never heard that. I've never seen that. So now you have. And my question for you is, what are you going to do with the knowledge you now have? I hope you will use it to go and build a robust and smart financial strategy for yourself and for your family. I'll see you next time.